Hi, it's Stacy from Families with Grace, and today I am talking about the number one reminder that parents need. So, last weekend, my in laws had my kiddos over for the day. My husband and I did some work around the house, and then we decided to head out to a late afternoon movie. My husband likes the John Wick movies. I don't enjoy them so much, I don't like the violence in them, but I do love movie popcorn, so I was convinced to go along. As we were waiting for the movie to start, we heard some parents with a toddler a couple of rows behind us. We talked about whether they had accidentally gone into the wrong theater and didn't realize it. When they were still there, through the previews, which included a few for horror movies that had me looking away, we whispered to each other whether we should tell the manager. Because based on the previews alone, they had to know they were not seeing a children's movie. We decided that since the movie is rated R and says you can't go to see it without a parent's permission, there wasn't really anything that even a manager could do. The parents were clearly giving their child permission to be there, even though the child wasn't old enough to need her own movie ticket. Throughout the entire movie, until about 15 minutes before it ended, we heard this little girl. She wasn't being disruptive, but she was being a typical 2 or 3-year-old who wanted to chat, play, and not stay in her seat. The mom finally took her out just before the movie ended. I closed my eyes or looked away for a decent portion of the movie. It bothered me all the more that a toddler was seeing these scenes and hearing some of the things being said. They were things that I definitely wouldn't even let my 9-year-old watch. Partway through the movie, I whispered to my husband that I just wanted to go get that little girl and take her out to the hallway to play, as I heard her parents continually shush her and tell her to sit and be quiet. It really couldn't have been a good experience for any of them. I do my best not to judge other parents. I do understand that everyone has different parenting styles and personalities and priorities. I do my best to give people the benefit of the doubt, even I try to assume that they're doing the best they can. But this situation bothered me immensely. I've thought through various scenarios in my head, and I cannot come up with one good reason to take a toddler to a rated R movie. Toddlers are old enough to understand the world around them to a certain extent. I know the little girl was seeing and hearing what was on the screen because she would comment on it a few times. Her mom thought it was funny when the little girl said that the preview for the movie Chucky looked like a scary version of Toy Story. Unfortunately, that wasn't the only bad parenting experience I encountered recently. The next day at the grocery store, a mom walked by with a baby in her cart who was probably about 8 months old. He started to put his mouth on the side of the cart as babies do at that age. She yelled at him and told him the cart had germs on it. She loudly told him to go ahead and just pout all he wanted. While she wasn't wrong in what she said, her approach was much more suited for a toddler or preschooler than for a baby. Her baby wasn't old enough to understand what she meant. He was just scared because she was yelling at him in a dramatic overreaction. I completely admit that I did judge these parents, and I fully say that they are wrong for their actions. Both situations made me want to stop the parents and lecture them. I can perhaps give the mom in the grocery store a little bit of leeway because we all have bad moments, but both sets of parents need to hear this message. Kids deserve to be kids. I don't mean that we let our children get away with anything they want just because they're kids. Heck no. It's our job to mold them and teach them. It's our job to help them understand the world around them, their role in it, and how to behave. But we also have to understand their capacity for behavior. For example, I don't expect my 6-year-old to have the same maturity as my 9-year-old. I don't expect my 9-year-old to have the maturity of a 13-year-old. And with all of that in mind, we also have to realize that our kids won't be the ages they are now forever. So making some sacrifices of your own needs and wants is not forever and is exactly what you should be doing. For instance, I remember many times when my kids were younger that I planned things around their napping schedule. It wasn't always convenient, but I knew they needed those naps and they would feel better with them, so I made them a priority. Or, now that they're school age, I keep our weekly commitments to a minimum so they have plenty of time for homework and downtime before getting ready for and being in bed by 8 p.m. Parenthood is work. It's understanding that someone else's needs have to come before yours almost always. It's making sacrifices to do what's best for your child. Maybe that means you have to wait for a movie to come out and rent it to watch after your kids are in bed. Or maybe it means you bring along a blanket or buy a cart seat cover to protect your baby from germs. I totally loved having a cart seat cover for my kids. It not only protected them from germs, but it also had toys attached to keep them occupied, which was a really good thing. Our kids are only kids for a short while. We need to do our best to let them be kids. We need to do our best to embrace the phase they're in and not expect more of them than they're able to give. We need to remember their ages. We need to let kids be kids. My test with my own kids is thinking, not saying out loud, what are you, insert their current age, year old? Chances are really good the answer is yes. If this is behavior that is expected to be from a child of that age, then our children deserve some grace. They may need instruction, they may need discipline, but they also need grace because they are learning and they deserve the best that we can give them. They deserve a chance to be their age and not be expected to do things beyond their capabilities or handle situations beyond their understanding. We have chosen to have these children whether they were planned or not, and as such we must be willing to do what is best for them, even and maybe especially when that means inconveniencing our own selves. Thank you.